Eyes toward the heavens, spread your wings and fly. Feet up off the ground, give it one more try. Time to be free, time to be free. Time to fly. Free. Fly free. Flying so free, flying so free. Free to touch the sky. Heart is in my mouth and I can't think of a better way. My heart is in my mouth and I can't think of a better way to spend the day than with you here today. There is light around us with a cloud in the sky. Weight of the world an illusion. Memory. I am free. You are free. We are free in the shambles democracy. Free to think, free to speak, free to be.
Welcome back, everybody.
All it is that you can be.
Welcome back to the Irish Fury, and I am the Irish Fury. Okay, so yeah, so I'm going to get straight into it. This is not going to be a long one. This will be very quick. So just take you right in here. All right, so what you see there, okay, is the channel context. So you can see my last video, which is here. And that was the video that was, can you go away there? Yep. Okay, so I'll go back down to this. Right, so mother and baby homes, shoes that won't stay on, okay? So that was the last video that I did here. And that was on the date of April the 18th, streamed April the 18th, 2021. All right, so this came out 4 days later. Let me see what you can see there. Yeah, you can see it. Okay, fine. All right, so this came out on 4 days later on Thursday, April the 22nd, 2021. All right, and it was updated. The I think the heading, the title, was altered slightly because I actually took a screenshot. I'm not going to include it here because it's my phone. I didn't actually put it into any folder on the laptop for it to bring up, but there's no need, I don't think. The word trenches isn't in the original article. So yeah, so like 4 days later, we have an article coming out from the Irish Times, and it says no evidence of human remains in test trenches at Bessborough. Planning hearing told. Experts called by developers. Experts, remember that, you know, the word experts. Experts called by developers of apartments on grounds of former mother and baby home. I'll just put my phone on silence or people will be driving me mad. So, archaeological experts for the developers of a controversial housing project on the grounds of a former mother and baby home in Cork have told a planning hearing that they found no evidence of human remains in an area marked as a children's burial ground in a 1950s map. Okay? Archaeologist Niamh Daly told the on-board Planala oral hearing into the proposed 179 apartment development on the grounds of the former Bessborough mother and baby home in Blackrock in Cork that she Don't people proofread their own articles? That she'd been involved in the had been involved in the excavation of 8 test trenches at the site in December 2019. My role was to provide constant osteoarchaeological supervision during the work. The results of careful monitoring and systematic archaeological excavation of the 8 trenches confirmed the absence of human bone and human tooth enamel, said Mrs. Daly. Interesting. So, if they were buried with clothes on, would there be any clothes remains after 70, 80 years? I don't know. So it's just assumed that it's just bone and tooth enamel, none of which were found. Therefore, no human remains or graves were recovered or identified in the 8 test trench areas, said Miss Daly, adding that some animal bone and tooth samples were recovered from the 8 linear test trenches, which were to the east and west of the development site. Why are you telling us about animal bone and tooth samples being recovered? There's always animal and tooth bone in the ground. Animals die all the time. A campaign group, Cork Survivors and Supporters Alliance, has opposed the development, submitting the proposed apartments will intrude on an area northwest of a landmark folly, which is marked in the 1950s Ordnance Survey field trace map as Children's Burial Ground. Interesting. Fellow archaeologist Colm Chambers, who, like Mrs. Daly, was retained by the developer MWB2 Limited, also testified that he was tasked with undertaking a program of licensed archaeological testing within the proposed development area to identify any potential archaeological remains. Mr. Chambers said that he consulted with John Nichols of Target Geophysics as to the suitability of the land holding for geophysical survey, specifically ground penetrating radar, GPR in brackets, survey, but Mr. Nichols felt the site was not suitable for such a survey. Overgrown. Mr. Chambers said, bear with me guys while I read through this. It's like the last one. I know it's boring to listen to me read through it, but I think it's important if somebody's listening to it and not actually watching the screen. So they're actually listening to it like an audio podcast. That's why I'm doing this. So I'll continue. Overgrown. Mr. Chambers said that Mr. Nichols ruled out carrying out a GPR survey due to the overgrown nature of the site, the presence of extensive dumps of waste material and previous disturbance which had been noted in a series of aerial photographs, so it was decided to carry out licensed test trenching. However, the National Monument Service suspended the license before all 10 test trenches were fully dug, but no evidence of any human remains was found in any of the trenches excavated on the footprint of the proposed development, said Mr. Chambers. Survey Paulie Barry told the hearing that he examined an aerial photograph taken of the site by the Irish Air Corps in 1951, in particular the area near a blue swoosh which surrounds the label Children's Burial Ground on the 1950s Ordnance Survey field trace map. I carefully examined the area of the blue swoosh, which was extracted and projected from the 1950s OSI trace map. I can say with a high degree of confidence that I saw no evidence of excavation in this area. ... or in brackets ... no evidence of soil disturbance reflected in the vegetation within this. It's a lot of effort to go through, isn't it? Forensic archaeologist Aidan Hart also testified on behalf of MWB2 Limited, who have offered to carry out an examination of the area where it proposes to build 179 apartments prior to any construction work commencing, to ensure the development is not covering up any human remains. Mr. Hart, who was retained by the Commission of Investigation into Mother and Baby Homes during excavation at the Children's Burial Grounds in both Tuam and Sean Ross Abbey, said it was clear that the proposed development site at Bessborough had been disturbed by previous groundworks. Also interesting. He identified 2 priority areas for examination in any forensic excavation, measuring 88 metres by 25 metres and 31 metres by 25 metres. These were identified as priority areas due to their proximity to the only known burial ground in the area, an enclosed cemetery surrounding the landmark folly. These priority areas would be searched to a forensic standard using a small mechanical excavator. It is recommended the soil be slowly removed while monitored by at least one forensic archaeologist and one osteoarchaeologist / forensic anthropologist, he said. This combination of specialisms is an appropriate method of evaluating disturbed and possibly very small fragment skeletal remains. Where items of evidential value are noted in situ, a completed record should be made prior to their being logged and removed. In the case of human remains, no such action would take place, instead securing the scene, said Mr. Hart, adding it was his understanding that forensic recovery of remains would only happen when directed by a coroner and, in all likelihood, supported by the Gardaí. The hearing continues. The hearing continues. All right, so anyone who saw that last video, right, that I put up there, that one, Mother and Baby Homes, it showed you, which is 4 days before this article was put out, okay? In that video, I showed how there is a plinth on the Greenway just before the bridge leading over the main thoroughfare. And I'm not a native Corkonian, so I don't know what that is, that road is. Maybe is it connected to the South Ring Road, or I don't know, you know, so but it's the Greenway that leads over from Rochestown and into the city, and it's on the left, and it's there for it's there. Okay, so I'll put myself back up here, right? Am I back up? Yeah. So basically, it's on the left. Now, I'll keep talking. What I'm going to do is I'm going to open up the folder showing that plinth again, right? It's in my previous video. Go watch the previous video. Let me see here. That one? Is it that one? No. So where did I put it? So it's basically a plinth on the left as you go over the bridge back into the city. Now, hundreds of thousands of people pass that every day. And it says 900 babies, Bessborough Homes Institute, right? And it's got little articles, it's got little sandals, shoes up on top of the plinth, it's got little candles, it's got little pictures of little flighty birds, right? So it says 900 babies, okay, that were buried in there, in like not there. This is my point exactly. Why are they advertising over at the Greenway? Why is it not over where the site of the Bessborough babies, mother and home babies home was? Why is it brought over to the Greenway for everybody to look at daily when they pass it? Why is that? I think it's about population control. I think it's about population management. I think it is to put a sense of shame on new life, create the creation of new life. I think it is the manufacturing of consent about that. All right, that is my understanding of that. I can't find this folder where I put the. Let me see. Is it in there? Let me see. Dun, 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 dun. Talk among yourselves. Manufacturing. Okay. No. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I've just too much stuff all over the place, so yeah, that doesn't matter. So what I'll do is just bring that back up. So like if you keep in mind, right, at that time, at the time when all this was supposed to be happening, the mother and baby homes, the taking of children from mothers into these homes and taking of young mothers into these homes, the Catholic Church was in power, and they were the ones who had sway over social power in Ireland at the time, supposedly. But So in knowing that, right, in knowing that, I want you to take a look at this. Okay. Let me see now. Have I got the right window up? I think I do. Yeah. So this is a verse from Matthew 18:6 in the Bible. And Matthew 18:6, it says, there's different versions of it down along the left here, okay? So you have the New International Version, you have New Living Translation, English Standard Version, I don't know, the Berean Study Bible, Berean Literal Bible. They have them all there, really. King James Bible, New King James Version. Anyway, I like the old-timey language from... I don't have a King James Bible, but I must get a Bible soon. So, but look what it says, right? These are the words that Jesus spoke, right? But whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believe in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged about his neck, and that he were drowned in the depth of the sea. Okay? And we'll read that in kind of common English, which is what I believe these other verses are from. But if you cause one of these little ones who trust in me to fall into sin, it would be better for you to have a large millstone tied around your neck and be drowned in the depths of the sea. All right. These are the words from the very character, the leader of example, the person who we're supposed to follow by example, how to live in under God's law and to enact God's will. All right, the character is Jesus Christ from the Bible. All right, these are his words. Now, how does that match up with 900 babies, with the Catholic Church being in power at the time, in that era? How does that match up? It doesn't, does it? There's no match-up whatsoever. There is no match-up. So I'm just going to leave it there. I was going to go further into this. I was going to say, thankfully, that it's only... Thankfully, it's only, we say, the social norms at the time, the religious ethos that is causing all these babies and mothers to be taken out of society, and the babies to be taken from mothers and brought away into homes. Thankfully, it's that, and it's not, would say, Luciferian, satanic pedophiles who are covering up their dirty deeds, with the building of apartments over what might have been where they laid the bodies of the children that they ritually abused. But I would say, thankfully, it's not that. All right? Thankfully. I'm not saying that that's what it is. All right? So, sometimes the truth is stranger than fiction.
I am free. You are free. We are free in this shambles democracy. Free to think, free to speak, free to be all it is that you can be. Holding back a shadow